Hello guys, welcome back to life, back to reality. And what are we going to do today? We're going to go to the second half of chapter 3.2, and we're going to look at the transition. And where we're going to start is where we probably got a little confused last time. Right? So by 1600, the Ming had ruled for more than 200 years, and their dynasty is getting weaker. I'm melting. They're not as powerful as they used to be, right? They're melting. They've got ineffective rulers. They've got corrupt officials. They're running out of money. So in 1644, the Manchus invade China, and the Ming Dynasty collapse. Partly, why did the Ming Dynasty collapse? Because of how isolated it was. And again, we've talked about this already. There's this split between Confucianism and the idea of becoming agriculture or becoming industrial. So they stay agriculture, so they don't really modernize. They get some bad harvests. We've talked about the economic issues. That leads to a rebellion. Look at the difference. Right? Look at the difference from last video to this video. The size from the Ming to the Qing Dynasty. Alright? The Manchu people from the northeast end of the Great Wall invade. And what's interesting is once they take over China, they take the name Qing for their dynasty that was going to last for 260 years. Again, Manchuria, located northeast of the Great Wall. The Manchus invade China, and the Ming Dynasty collapse. The Manchus take a Chinese name, Qing Dynasty as the ruler. Kangxi is their first ruler. This is really confusing. He did not rule for 260 years. He'd be really old. But the Manchurian, aka the Qing Dynasty, so these two are basically interchangeable, ruled for 260 years. Some of the things they did, they extended the borders. They went to Taiwan. They attacked Central Asia. They go into Mongolia, and they go into Tibet. Who are the rules? Kangxi, we already talked about. And he's going to be really popular. Everybody loves him. And he's going to reduce the size of the government. He's going to reduce expenses. He's going to lower taxes. He's going to be a patron of the arts. He welcomed the Jesuits, who told them of science, medicine, mathematics, etc. in Europe. So he's a little open. He's like, hey, come on in. We'll take some of your ideas. All right? And this is what I believe he looked like. Amazingly enough, I have that same shirt. We did all this already. The Qing Dynasty basically takes over, and this is interesting, upholds all of China's traditional beliefs, and especially in Confucianism and their social structures. And I'm going to butcher this. Qianlong is his grandson. He's the next most important ruler, and he increases China's size and prosperity. He expands, again, allows in the European missionaries and their merchants. So China's getting bigger. China's getting more powerful under the Qing Dynasty. All right, during his reign, again during Qianlong's reign, he reaches greatest size and greatest prosperity. We do see some rebellions. People were upset that these were non-Chinese leading their country, but they do many improvements. They make the frontier safe. They restore the prosperity. They figured out a way to walk the balance line here between, again, the Confucian way of doing things and being industrial and making that loot. Alright? They do have some vassal states that are underneath them that pay. And the main one is Korea. They're governed under Confucian principles. They adopt Chinese technology, culture, and isolation policy. So China is here, and Korea is all down here like, wow, you're awesome, you're awesome. They invade, and the Manchu invasion and Japanese attack prompt nationalism. So once they get into Korea and the Japanese attack, we start to see China becoming more like, hey, we're number one. Alright? So the isolation continues. Again, special rules must be followed. This is interesting. Foreign traders can only trade in special ports, and they must pay tribute. The Dutch are like, no problem, we'll do it. And they become trading partners. The British refuse. They're like, no way, good day, sir, we're the British, we're not doing it. Alright, that's my British. China's self-sufficient and doesn't need the British, so they tell the British pound sand, beat it. So who are they trading with? Dutch. C goes with D, C does not go with B. Their country to the Chinese, the world had been centered around them for 2,000 years. If this foreign country didn't want to play ball with them, beat it. It's their loss. So the Chinese look at the British as, it's their loss. Alright? The Dutch followed the rule. Dutch returned many trade items, including a new tea. By 1800, tea made up 80% of the shipments to Europe from China. Alright? Oh, that looks delicious. I'd have a spot of tea. The British also do want to trade. So Lord Macartney of England delivers a letter from the king and says, listen, we're Britain. We want special rules. The Qing Dynasty says, let me think. No. And the British say, how about now? And the Chinese say, no. So Qing declined. This is going to lead to problems later. And you're going to hear of this. This is called kowtowing, where a foreign diplomat is to pay respect to the Chinese leaders. It's about respect. It's about, you have power. I'm lucky to be trading with you. So when Qing Long expected Lord George Macartney to kowtow, what do you think Macartney should have done? Well, if he wanted to trade with the Chinese, he had to trade. What about the issue of cultural differences? What would this do to trading? Did he understand the kowtow ritual? And what about political correctness? And the English say, we're not doing it. By the way, this is not kowtowing. That's kowtowing, and it's very dangerous. They should be buckled in. And that's not Lord Macartney either. So the British never trade. So let's talk a bit about life in the Ming and Qing Dynasty. Most of the families farmed. Agriculture improves because of irrigation, where you get the water and fertilizer. Food production goes up. Once you get enough food, people start having babies. Once they have babies, you got more kids. Alright? And there you see an example of the agriculture. Interestingly enough, they favored sons over daughters. Only sons could perform religious rituals. Sons raised families under the parents' roof. Remember that they took care of the aging parents. So there's this very serious kind of paternalistic family structure. Women worked the fields, took care of the children's education, and managed the finances. Cultural developments. We start to see traditional Chinese fiction written at this time. We see artists painted in these traditional styles, which you can see here. And there's a little bit of experimentation with ceramics, and it led to some high-quality porcelain. Drama at this time is very popular. Again, rice. Some new crops, corn and sweet potatoes. Again, more food means more happiness, means more babies. Sons over daughters. Females were not valued, and we can talk about the morality of this. We do start to see the death of female Chinese babies. And we'll talk a little bit about some of the cultural developments. The culture of modern China was based on these traditional forms, and you're going to see things like you see on the screen. Again, the things to remember is the issue with the kowtowing, the issue with the females, and please remember that China was in control of Korea at this time. They start to trade with the Dutch, and they do not trade with the British. Alright? And